Hello, fellow Doctor Who fans, specifically fellow Big Finish fans out there, and today I'm starting a long series of reviews in which I shall be reviewing all the Doctor Who Big Finish audio adventures that I own on CD. Now, I could just do all the ones that I own in general, but I have bought so many that I haven't even listened to them all. Thank you, Humble Bundle, and goddamn thank you to the 2014 Big Finish sale of the summer. Let's kick things off with the Sirens of Time, the first effort of Big Finish for Doctor Who. When critiquing Sirens of Time, it is very common to preface such a review with the obvious elephant in the room. This is Big Finish's very first effort doing a full-fledged Doctor Who audio drama, featuring the actors who played the Doctor in Doctor Who. They had done previous efforts to do Doctor Who-related audio dramas with the Bernie Summerfield spin-off audios, and then finally, in 1999, they received the rights to produce full-on Doctor Who audio dramas. No such thing had been in a grand scale as this. There had been previous efforts including Slipback and the Ghosts of N-Space, as well as another John Pertwee audio drama that fails to come to my mind at the time, but nothing was done in such great quality as this. Nicholas Briggs, Gary Russell, and the rest of the Big Finish team have put so much effort into every single one of these productions to make some of the most fantastic stories available to fans of Doctor Who. Reviews of this story usually note that all the flaws, scaled subjectively how you choose, are softened in blow by this being a freshman release. And I'd agree. But, to be perfectly honest, first audio, or 100th, Sirens of Time is pretty damn awesome. The story follows a 4-act structure. The first act following the 7th Doctor, the second one following the 5th Doctor, the third, the 6th Doctor, and the fourth bringing them all together in a multi-Doctor extraordinaire. The web of time is crumbling, and Gallifrey is in danger, and the Knights of Valicia bring a looming threat, and the Doctor, in his 5th, 6th, and 7th incarnations, are the center of the deadly target. Act 1 begins, much like an episode of New Who would begin, with a, if you will, pre-credits sequence, following some Time Lords on Gallifrey. It's an amazing way to start off not only this story, but the entire main range of Big Finish as well. It pulls you right back into the Doctor Who that we left behind in 1989, or 1996, if you will, and throws you right into the story and gets you gripped right away before bringing that classic Doctor Who theme, the theme used in the early 70s for the 3rd and 4th Doctor. The 7th Doctor finds himself on a mysterious planet, and there's a girl named Elenia who's drowning. He tries to save her, albeit some Dr. Hamster Wheel-sounding lady, voiced by Maggie Stables, tells him not to. After he does, they meet an old man who happens to be a violent war criminal or something or another who is being targeted by some very deadly authorities. Of all the parts, this is probably the most smallest in scale, and, though it is interesting, is probably the least of such. Sylvester McCoy does get off to a bumpy start with his dialogue. He sounds almost asleep, but very soon he wakes completely up in order to get ready to do his old doctor thing that he left off with in the 1996 TV movie. Sarah Mowat is very great as Elenia and other variations on that name. Spoiler alert, she is the villain of this story, but you could kind of guess that. Maggie Stables, whom I mentioned earlier as sounding like Dr. Hamsterwheel from Lilo and Stitch, is pretty good, albeit her hokey voice. You might of course know her as Evelyn Smythe, the companion to the 6th Doctor in the audio dramas. Maggie is a great actress, and she will be missed. Colin McIntyre is also very great, playing some old retired soldier, I believe, named Sancroft, who also happens to be a violent war criminal. You wouldn't suspect that with his soft and endearing performance, and it only just makes it much more surprised to find out he did some awful things, and you almost kind of sympathize for such a horrible person when the authorities come to destroy them, and it leaves us off with a great cliffhanger, which doesn't really get resolved, which Mr. TARDIS Reviews has pointed out before, and while he lists that as a flaw, and I'm not competing in any way, I think it actually adds to the story, and just makes you wonder what happened, and then you're finally glad to see the Doctors reunite in the 4th story with all these weird plot threads undone. Act 2 is very great. It features Peter Davison, who is both my least favorite Big Finish Doctor and my least favorite Classic Who Doctor. This is no slight against Peter, though, because he is actually a very great Doctor. He is just the least interesting in my opinion. Peter oftentimes, especially in his very early audio dramas, sounds a bit phoned in, slightly dull, and let's be honest, he sounds a lot older than he was when he started the show, which is an issue when you are such a young Doctor, and then you get older. The Doctor, after lots of shenanigans on another boat, ends up on a U-boat, right before the Lusitania is about to get sunk. Despite my previous qualms I stated about Peter Davison very much shines in this role, and Gatiss, you all know him, plays a very good German officer. It's a very great act, and it has a great cliffhanger, which leaves the Fifth Doctor desperately struggling to survive while he's standing on the TARDIS, floating in the water. He can't get in. What's he gonna do? We get to Act 3, and fanfare. Here he is, the king of Doctor Who Big Finish himself, Colin Baker. Yes, the reputation precedes himself as just being the best Big Finish Doctor. Everybody recommends that you listen to the Sixth Doctor audio dramas, and for good reason. Colin Baker is in top form in every single one of his audios, this one being no exception. Big Finish has also gone to great lengths to make sure the Doctor is way more likable than he was in his early seasons. Well, only seasons, should I say. Although I am a big fan of this version of the Doctor, the audio version is just as equally great, and he just shines through this role. He's landed on a spaceship where lots of evil stuff happens, leaving him also in danger as we make our way into Part 4, where all the Doctors meet together. From here, I won't give away the rest of the plot. You really just have to listen for yourself. Let me just say, though, that the villain creates an excellent gambit that Barusa should have made in The Five Doctors. You see, she takes the earliest incarnation present and threatens his life in order to get the later incarnations to do work for her. That's a great scheme. Barusa really shouldn't have taken the last incarnation in The Five Doctors and used him as some kind of slave gambit. When you're working with multiple incarnations of the Doctor, it's best to go for the earliest one, because if you wipe him out, the rest are gone. The multi-Doctor concept, as well as just everything about the Doctor's personality changing yet being the same man, is actually a very important aspect to the plot. I won't give it away, but it really shines out near the end and really helps to the Doctor's victory. The grandiose scale of this whole story is amazing. Again, there's just no better way to start out an amazing range of Big Finish audio productions like this. The sound design and music is amazing, although it could have used a bit more of some ambience atmosphere to just let you know better where you are, but aside from those few minor setbacks, sound is brilliant. Big Finish is always on top form in this department. I've gone this far praising the plot, and now I have to admit, the story does get all over the place sometimes, but not too much that I don't lose my intrigue. To be honest, while I don't recommend this being the starting point for newcomers into Big Finish, as it wasn't my starting point, this is a great place to go after you've listened to one or two other Big Finish audio productions. But hey, on the other hand, who am I to judge? I mean, I wasn't back there in 1999 listening to this. Plenty of other people started with this audio, and it seems to have worked because Big Finish has garnered a large fan base ever since releasing this in 1999. It is a great audio production.